All right, so let's talk about Walter White.
Walter White.
Yeah, the Breaking Bad character and how
we're going. This is it.
And so, well.
Oh yeah, is this good? Okay. Oh, is this good? We're going?
No, we're
not going. Okay.
All right, we're about to go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to what is this? Scott Therapy, and this
it's
is
Twiz. This week.
It's not Twiz.
And
we were just talking with Sean Cruz, and now he was on the show. He's coming back this afternoon to do This Week in Space Science.
Twiz. I like that Twiz.
Twiz. Yes.
Twiz.
And he will be here, and I know you have a message for him. We're going
to
show that. The folks
Twiz.
at home will not get to see it. But ladies and gentlemen, this is Scott Therapy. We talk about all things mental health and psychology-wise. So,
you know,
all right,
I've got that Twiz. I got a tattoo of that on the small on the back. It says Twiz.
Okay, well,
you know what?
Yes.
That's not a tramp stamp. That's a champ stamp.
Okay, yeah,
that is.
I think you're making an interpretation on that. Well, all right, so we were talking about television a little bit in the studio earlier. We're talking about these characters that come on television, and especially the ones that may have conflict, the personality. They may have these
Walter White
problems.
we're talking about.
We were talking
Breaking
about
Bad finale.
Breaking Bad. 'Cause
some of you have seen it. I haven't. I'm 8 episodes away.
You're 8 away.
Yeah.
All right, you got to get.
I'm assuming the last episode is a musical.
I would say there is some music in it, yes.
Okay, I want to see dancing and singing.
There's music in it. All right, so but talk about that character. Here was a guy who was a school teacher who I think most of us know a little bit about, even if some of us haven't seen it, but the notion that he was a school teacher, got the diagnosis of cancer, had a lot of bills in the family, didn't know what to do, and things happened after that. So. But also, it's called Breaking Bad, so evidently something broke, and it was not good. So Walter White personality, he became a meth lab chemist and started making meth.
Yeah, you know, we actually have a math lab on campus, and there's some confusion sometimes.
I don't
know if you've ever, sometimes the people that are hanging out there, I don't think they understand it's a math lab.
Math lab is a method as opposed to a math lab. All right, so talk about his conflict a little bit. What's wrong with this guy? I mean, was he a narcissist? And
well, I think there's two ways to think about this. There's Walter White, the character. There's also the people who enjoy the TV series, and why, in fact, people may enjoy it as much as they do.
That's a good question. Why do people? Because we were talking earlier. People get hooked. You know, we're talking about meth and get hooked on drugs, but this is getting hooked on these television series, these drama series, 24 and The Wire, and all of the other shows that are coming on. So what is the draw? How do people get hooked, connected to these drama series and the personalities and the stories? It's all well done for the most part, but what is the draw? What gets people connected so strongly with these things?
Well, I might go the first, just sort of and these are sort of connected, I think.
Okay.
The Walter White character, his excuse for the meth lab is saying that he's gotten cancer and he needs to support his family and whatnot. But we find out
all for the family is what he
we
said.
find out though that the reason he became a teacher is because the company that he was in, he suddenly quits. And I haven't seen the last 8 episodes, so I don't know, you know, how it ends. But the assumption is his problems at least began that far. And I think he had a propensity for narcissistic injury. And I think he may be what we'd call in the business a quiet narcissist. Someone who is, on the surface, nebbish. Someone who's very sort of quiet, unassuming, even passive.
Okay.
But in effect, he's not. There is a need for aggrandizement. There is, and I think that seems to be what drives him later on in the series. He says at one point that he wants to build an empire. You know? And so
yeah, all right. So you set the stage for that, and the question was, why do we get so interested in that? Is there something narcissistic in us that we connect with it at some level, or what do you think?
I'm really interested, particularly in the notion of psychoanalytic aesthetics. And one of the things art does for us, whether it's a song or a painting or a TV show, whatever, it allows us one of the things it does, to articulate ourselves. It allows us to think and, well, to dream and to think. So what is the person or the nation that invests in something like Walter White? What are they thinking or dreaming? And there's some interesting essays on this that if you contextualize Walter White or the Breaking Bad series, it came out at a certain point in our history. It came in, from a political standpoint, it comes out when we could argue that American power is in decline. You could argue that Walter White on some level may represent maybe a the shadow of the American character. What if in some ways we are a narcissistically injured nation? What if we are, at least, and I put that in quotes because America's supposed to have been in decline since 1942, so, well, 45, whatever. But we could, you know, that's conjecture.
That's another show.
That's another show, yeah.
We got to come back for that.
So what if on a national level, it not only taps into a zeitgeist, but allows a certain, allows us to think and feel our way through certain things that we are experiencing as a nation and as a culture at this point in time. That's at a cultural level.
Yeah.
On an individual level, though, think about how I think most people who I talk with, they really identify with Walter White, and they identify with this Heisenberg alter ego of his. I mean, you can think of like as far back as movies like Scarface, or even further back, the anti-hero,
sort of the James Cagney back in the 40s and 30s and 40s and those characters. Okay.
And so like the individual who watches this, I suspect it allows for the sublimation of some unconscious aggressions. Sublimation? Well, for instance, when you watch a show like Breaking Bad, whether you know it or not, you are unconsciously identifying and living through each of the characters. You are both Walter White, you're both the Heisenberg character and the Walter White Nebbish character. You're both the wife and the son. You are allowed to articulate elements of the self as every character moves across the screen. So, and what you were sublimating on some degree is sort of like donuts might
yes.
That's sort of not that they would.
I'm thinking, I know this is from an earlier video that we made, but I don't know how far you want to go down there. But yeah, sublimation. So we sort of project ourselves into these characters that we identify parts of those characters.
They allow us to. I'm sorry. There's another.
Yeah, I mean your son got stung by a bee, so we need to as we move. This is live television, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have to.
Apparently the text I sent my wife that I told her I was going to get her. I'm sorry, but
okay, that's right.
We can't admit domestic squabble on these things. But
yes.
So maybe the way to think about this is, well, I'm
you are thinking about this, and
is this what we call a dead air, awkward pause?
This is one of those awkward pauses. Hey, we have them around here all the time.
You do?
But
normally not with me, though.
But we have edit bay though, there, so we cut these things out. But we won't do it here because this is
what if
the real deal.
in that moment? What if in that moment that pause, that quiet that I had?
Oh, you set that up, didn't you? Okay, go ahead.
What if in that moment, there are moments in the show where Walter White is aggressed upon. And we can see there are moments when he makes us squeamish because he seems weak, right?
Right.
Especially early on. And then these moments where he dons the black hat and he becomes Heisenberg.
Heisenberg, and he's tough. He's taking no prisoners.
In the moment when you're unable to speak, where you're inarticulate, that generates an injury. You feel bad. To watch a show like Breaking Bad, you can see someone who stumbles just like you do, but then finds a way to, in the most extreme manner, bring in the boom.
Right. Extremes. Actually, those two characters are the extremes. So, at one end of this spectrum. Well, that's
I'm more of a Pinkman man myself.
Well, I'm kind of wondering. This may be a little premature, but here's the notion that people are watching this show.
They are?
And if they watch enough of it, well, there are.
Hey, do you think we have the same?
A couple of things, but still.
We should have a season finale.
I'm wondering.
That should go out with a bang, like
if people are identifying with you as a character, and me, maybe, probably less so, but you, and then whether or not they're actually kind of getting into these characters, like when you say some of those things that come out of your mouth occasionally on the show.
Occasionally, yeah, like
very interesting things at times. But are the viewers looking and projecting into that and maybe sublimating in some way with some of the things happening on the show?
Well, I do suspect there's a lot of nausea.
We're not a drama.
I think there's probably a lot of I think I like to say that I am a visual epicac.
I thought I was stretching the point there a little bit. Visual
But no,
epicac.
I could be a character. You could invest. I think particularly I have. I think I have dangerous facial hair.
I knew we were going toward the beard. I knew I would have bet money that we were going toward the beard. And Sean Cruzen has a few choice words for you about your beard, but
I think he has beard envy. He just basically said, in fact, we could say that Sean Cruzen has to have a donut because he knows he can't have my facial hair. It's sort of like, if I could stretch this.
I think we've lost our audience. we started talking about some other things, personality and things.
It's not.
All right, but we'll catch folks up. If you want to know the inside scoop, we may have to do this. Like this is the inside thing. We'll put it on YouTube.
How about this? I'm going to watch the end of this Breaking Bad. Let's revisit this because I think this whole notion of the psychological use of art. The what happens in an aesthetic experience is very important. I write about this, believe it or not.
Yeah.
In fact, I have a proposal for the International Zizek Conference, which is going to be in Cincinnati.
All right, you said it. I didn't.
It's the International Zizek.
That's one of your.
And I think Daniel and I talked about this last time.
Yes.
In fact, he was the inspiration for this for the paper I wrote.
All right, somebody. Daniel. Hey, couple credits over there. All right.
But the paper is.
That one too, by the way.
Here's the title of the paper. It's called. Tearing with the Very, Very Negative. Black Metal, Cosmic Horror, and Aesthetic Immolation.
No, it's not. That's not the title.
That is the title.
That is not the title.
That's the title. It is. And the reason it's called Tearing with the Negative is because Zizek wrote a book called Tearing with the Negative, which comes from a quote from Hegel. So it's a joke for people who know Zizek, Tearing with the Very, Very Negative.
Because the rest of us didn't follow that at all. But so if you're
in some ways, the Walter White thing is on the similar thing. There's a way in which Freud called it the death drive, that there's a drive for creation, for movement forward, but there's also a drive to die, to go out with a bang, like Scarface at the end of the movie, where he goes, he says, say hello to my little friend. And
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, got it.
In some ways, that epitomizes what's the death drive, to be able to go boom and to live in one giant moment like some sort of big bang all over again.
All right, but that sounds very destructive to me. I'm wondering, what about integration? What about these sides of us that we have, that the Walter White character has this narcissistic side and this swimpish side, and how about resolving that in some way? Isn't that the point of
integration? Isn't that a Chic song?
Okay, there you go. See,
No, I like that. Well,
I'm just saying, is that a possibility that's where we're moving as opposed to one?
But see, that's why we have to have Scarfaces, because Scarface does the disintegration for us, so we can integrate. Okay, he allows us to articulate. Walter
so that
White,
art form helps us with this. Okay.
It allows us to identify to parts of us to speak and move in Walter White, so then we can continue to own them. They go out.
Right.
Walter White dies for us. So does Scarface. This sounds like I'm getting religious, but it's not. I'm not. This is not sacrilegious either. But what he does is, over and over, we are able to experience those experiences. We then are. It allows us to dream them. It allows us to be able to at least unconsciously give them, let them move in us in a way they otherwise couldn't, and then we do integrate them.
That. Actually, what you just said, I think, answers the original question that we brought up at the beginning of this show.
What's wrong with Sean Cruzen?
No, not that one. Or the donut. The question was really why people get so hooked in to these, addicted to, if you will, these drama series and TV and what it does for them. So I think you did a pretty good job with that. Okay, there's a lot of unresolved things we have to work on.
Let me watch the end of this show. Let me watch the end of this show. And we'll see, because I haven't watched it. You watched the end?
Yeah, I have.
I've seen the end. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
Nobody tell me.
Let me tell you one thing about it. It is a very good ending. I think you will be satisfied. All right, that's enough of that. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Guide Therapy. This is Dr. Dan Rhodes. I'm Michael Baltimore. We're right here on Columbus State Television. And tune in every week. Watch us on Mediacom, channels 99.98, at CSU.TV on the web, and ColumbusState.TV on the web. Watch us on that Roku box if you've got one of those, CSUTV and Ustream, and we'll see you around next time. Got Therapy, The Dan Rose Show.
Keep it classy.
All right.